Good evening, my friends. This is Angy Stewart from INNERLIGHT. We are here live in Kardec Radio. It's 9 o'clock, and this is our program called God at Home. So, here we will understand a little bit of what is the God at Home. We will actually do the God at Home with our friends. Then we will have a very short meditation and a irradiation. It's called spiritual irradiation treatment, where we will be together praying for people that are sick, people that are not feeling good, whatever is the situation they are going through, we will be connecting with them, sending these positive vibrations. So if you are listening to it, please join us and connect with this good vibration so you can benefit yourself, but you can also benefit your friends, your family, so we can all end up benefiting together of this positive energy. So let me bring our friends of today. Hello, Claudinha. How are
Hello,
you?
good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for being here with us all the time. It's a
Oh, thank
pleasure.
you to have me.
Let's bring also Teresa. Hello, Teresa.
Hello. Hi,
Very
Hello.
Angie. Thank you so
good.
much.
It's great to have you back. You were on vacation. Nice to have you back. Nice to
Thank
see
you.
you, Teresa. Thank you for being here. So, as usual, I forgot something because we have so much that we have to do. But, Claudinha, can you just say what we are going to be doing today while I finish this?
Sure. Well, first we're going to be talking a little bit about the God at Home, and hopefully everyone that is watching, besides the three of us, do the this activity at home at least once a week. If you don't do by yourself, you can do with us, and but it helps a lot the environment of your at home, and the the relationship with your family. It really does help, and
Yes, this is true.
that's basically the first part, right, Angie?
Yeah. And Teresa, I don't remember. Do you do the God at home or you don't do it right now?
No, I do, and I live alone, but I set a special time once a week. Mine happens to be Monday evening, and it lasts anywhere from maybe a half hour, 45 minutes. Sometimes I've gone longer, but I usually have a set amount of time, and have my water available. What I started doing recently is actually reading out loud and even discussing out loud what it was about. And I typically read out of the Gospel According to Spiritism by Allan Kardec.
Yes,
And I
yes.
very often just open it randomly and read the section. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is the best thing. And we always imagine that we are doing it alone, but as you were mentioning a few minutes ago, we are surrounded by a cloud of testimonies all the time. And I remember sometimes I am doing my God at home and I am talking to my couch, talking this, talking that, because my right now my husband is rebellious, so he's not doing, and my son, he's always doing homework and blah, blah, blah. So most of the time, I'm doing by myself with our friends. But I remember one time I'm like, no, because of this, da, 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 I'm having this conversation. And when I look, there is somebody saying, yes, yes, wow. And I'm like, oh, yeah. So I actually saw them. So it was really, really exciting. I'm like, oh, wow, that is actually good.
Hmm.
So we think we are alone, but we are not alone. So we are not alone. And to all of you that will be listening to this later on, if you are also alone and you don't like to do it by yourself, or you're new and you don't feel comfortable, you can always join us and set up your God at home to be with us from 9 to 10. So you stay with us, you do the God at home, you do the whole package, you do the radiation. So it's like there are solutions to everything when we want it. That's the thing. When we want it. When we don't want, it's already like, okay, that's it. But when we want, there are solutions. Okay, wonderful. So, Claudinha, let's actually start. Let's read a little passage of the
Sure.
book that we love, Happy Life, and
Right.
then we can start.
So let's start by reading number 9 that says, "Be a friend to all. Friendship is a treasure of the spirit and is meant to be shared. Like the sun, it shines and bestows joy upon all who receive it. There is a critical shortage of friends on the earth, which breeds conflict, mistrust, instability, and insecurity. When people lack friendship, is in their lives, they put themselves in danger. Be a kind friend, even if you are experiencing misunderstanding and hardship."
Very beautiful. Very beautiful. I received a message today also. Was very beautiful, saying, "Be a friend to your sister." And then was a beautiful long message. And in the message, it's a story. And this girl say, "Oh, I don't know why my mother sent me this, because I don't even have a sister." And she's like, "Is my mom getting a little cuckoo?" And then through the message, the mom is telling her, seeing your sister in other people. Your sister can be your friend, can be your aunt, can be your neighbor. And it's like we understand in Spiritism, our brothers and sisters, they will be one day all the people. Right now, we are really connected to the close ones, but when our heart opens, we can also see our brothers and sisters around us, and in the future will be naturally will be like that. So beautiful message.
Isn't it good to have friends?
Oh my God, yes.
Wow.
And I need so much to be able to hug them and kiss them. Soon will be better. Soon will be better. Very good. So let's do our initial prayer so we can actually do our God at home. God, our dear Mother and Father, thank you so much for bringing us together here tonight to be able to study the God at home, study this beautiful book, the Gospel according to Spiritism, sharing experiences and ideas with our friends that are incarnated and also discarnated. Please inspire us, help us to be able to connect with the enlightened spirits so we will be able to understand deeper. But most of all, we will be able to put in practice what we will be studying as soon as this study finishes. Please send these good vibrations to our friends that couldn't be here tonight and stay with us. So be it.
So be it.
Very good. So, our study of tonight is a continuation of chapter 16. And the items today will be detachment from earthly possessions and the transmission of wealth. So, as I always do, I will read a little bit and then we can all comment. And if you are seeing this, please put your comments, your questions, so we can all benefit from it. So, detachment from earthly possessions. your love for earthly possessions is one of the biggest obstacles to your moral and spiritual advancement. So he is mentioning the material things. And this is true. This is true because the earthly possessions, the material things are one of the biggest problems on earth because we all get too attached to certain things. And sometimes sometimes the thing is not even expensive or important, but it is important for you. And sometimes we give more value to this item than to other items that are so much more important in our lives. So this is what we have to talk. This is a beautiful message from the spirit Lacordaire. It's a long message, and I hope we can touch the most important points of Lacordaire message. So let's go, girls. What else do you want to talk about?
Well, I think it's important that, I mean, I can talk about beyond what's in the
Yes,
section, right? Okay.
sure.
Yeah, so, he brings up charity and how charity is between being miserly and wasteful. And he says right in the middle is charity. And so when we look at that between miserly and wasteful, we see that charity is the right use of what we have. Okay. And so where miserly versus wasteful is more about the material. And I think we can also look at this charity piece as not only material, but we can also think about, our faculties and mediumship. That, it could be used for consoling, but also, people will tend to use mediumship for, nonsense reasons, like for curiosity. They just want to experience the phenomena. So he's really talking about charity as being that using what we have to share with other people rightly. So it's not being wasteful, and it's also not being miserly, just hoarding things for ourselves. So I think that's an important message that he brings out, and also the idea that nothing belongs to us anyhow. So when we're miserly and like, oh, but what about me? And I have to save for myself and my family. None of it belongs to us anyhow. That it's all passing. That we won't be taking anything with us except our moral virtues. So that was an important point, I thought.
Yeah, no, this is definitely important. He also mentions that, you know, he continues explaining about honorable labor, for example, because a lot of people say, well, but I worked hard. Everything I had is because I worked hard to have it. And he's explaining this is wonderful. It's great that you have like a, I don't know, you have a fortune because of your hard work.
Mhm.
It's good. But he's trying to make a point that it's okay to have money, to have possessions, but it's not okay to be owned by those things,
To
like
be
the
so
material
attached
things
to
own
those
your
things.
soul. Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. So it's okay to have a phone that it's like, I don't know, is a brand new phone. It's good. But if you lose that and you think, oh, I'm gonna die, that's not good. So he's trying to make us to understand that everything, as you said, is temporary. Exactly like our body. Our body is temporary. You have this right now, but tomorrow you might cross the street and boom, and you don't have that clothes anymore.
You
So
have the obligation to take care of it, but you don't have to suffer, and
yes,
you don't have to think that that's the only thing that exists, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
I want to give you an example. My mom, she had Alzheimer's disease, and so she spent about 10 years and with the disease before she passed. And but in the beginning, I remember that she had a very hard time because my father. He moved from one city to the other many times. Like we moved from Sao Paulo in south of Brazil to Manaus. Then from Manaus we moved to Miami, and then we went back, and then we moved to Fortaleza. Anyway, we moved too many
Gypsies.
times. Yeah, and my mom, every time that we would move, she would have to get rid of some things from the house because every time we couldn't take everything we had, and she would suffer so much. And we used to tell her, "Mom, don't uh, don't suffer for for those things. We can buy some other items. We can have some other things, and the important thing is that we are going together."
Yeah.
But I believe she was already sick, and she had so uh, I mean, she suffered so much because of a plate, because
Oh.
a pillow, and it's very sad to see a person so attached to small things,
Yeah.
right? And I don't know if it was part of the disease because she was not like that before, but it was very sad watching these things.
Yes, probably it was already part of the development of
Right.
her disease because
Mhm.
usually, people that are more materialistic and more attached, they are attached to things that are really expensive. For example, you just mentioned a pillow. A pillow is a
Right.
pillow.
Uh-huh.
It's not like you know, it's not something that, like, for example, a special painting, because a
Uh-huh.
person can be attached to that special painting. There is a memory of something, or she paid for this a lot of money. But as you mentioned, it seems that the little things that she probably was already part of her, the
Right.
development of her
But anyhow, it
disease.
was hard to see someone so suffering
Yes.
so much. It is the same thing when you see somebody that um, pass away, and the family stays like suffering because we're so attached to the other person. I mean,
Yeah.
we cannot disconnect.
Yes.
We know
Yes.
that we continue our lives, they continue, but sometimes we're too attached to things and to
Yes.
people, and we are attached to a son, and it is too much, and we don't belong to anybody. I mean, my husband or my brother, my father,
Yeah.
we're together, but we don't belong to each other, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
It's
the
not
point.
only for things, but I believe it also extends to those relationships that they don't
Yeah,
matter.
no, definitely, definitely. And this is one of the beautiful things that the Spiritism helps us to understand, that what connects us is love. So our loved one will die, the physical body will die, but the spirit lives forever. And if we really love each other, when
Hmm.
you die, you will meet that person. And then probably people are thinking, oh, I saw Nosula, maybe we are not in the same level. Doesn't matter. The more elevated one will come to visit you. Don't worry, it's okay, it's okay. Other day, my husband was joking with me, and he's like, oh, you studied this forever. I really only have very basic knowledge. You will be so far away. I was like, baby, maybe, who knows? You are even more developed than me, and I don't know. I know the theory, but maybe you in other lives you studied more, you know more, who knows? And then he's like, oh, maybe? I'm like, yeah, maybe. And he's like, oh, okay, I will try to visit you. I'm like, okay, good, I'm glad you are trying to visit but this is the thing. It's totally possible for people to be attached to people too, and this is not good. And even our psychologists they say this is not good. And there is also the famous syndrome of the empty nest, like in America. They say, oh, she has a syndrome of the empty nest. It's like when the kids they go away and the mom is like, oh my life. So it is possible. So we always have to think, like the Spiritist doctrine tell us, our kids, for example, they are of the world, they will grow and they will go. So we have to, yes, we have to love them, we have to care for them, worry about them, but we have to understand one day they will have their own lives, and we have to think, what, I'm living my life for him? That's not good. So we have to live our life for ourselves, because the day that they are gone to their own families, what are you doing? I also think about people that get retired, for example, because when you are working, you are so busy. You're like, a lot of people joke, I can't wait to retire. And I think, is it good? And I'm already thinking my retirement is so freaking far away. But I think, like, when I retire, what am I going to do? Oh, when I retire, oh, I will have more time to do lectures. So, oh, I maybe will be able to finally write a book. So think about your retirement. What will you do? Start planning your activity. So this is also good for us to plan ahead what we will be doing in a good way, in a positive way, being more involved with charitable activities, opening another group. I must have like 500 groups, opening 501 groups. So it's good. It's good. This is totally true. Let's see what else we can comment on his message.
Well, I think, what we've just been saying, my wife, mine. And, that was how he brought in the thing about money. The problem there, when we start saying it's mine, and he reminds us that having money and wealth is not a gift, it's a loan. And so
yeah,
we
exactly, exactly.
and even our relationships. So if we think my wife or my sister, this, it's not ours. Like these relationships are really temporary. And so he says the caution here is we can fall into a sense of pride. It's my money. Like as if we were somehow privileged. And then he also says, but there is also the possibility of selfishness, because usually when people are wasteful, it can, be one thing throwing money around, look how rich I am, but it's usually to satisfy their ego, which is, selfishness, a form of selfishness, or else wasting their money on their pleasures. Instead of helping other people, or using, again, coming back to charity, using it more rightly. So, and he reminds us about, to be meek in regards to our wealth and our money. And I think, I noticed in these items, he's kind of talking to either the really wealth or really poor. But I think today we can bring this even into the middle class, that, to remember when we have a loss of money, or, something doesn't financially work out to our best, feeling like a positive outcome, materially speaking. that, you know, he warns us about not falling into despair and being meek, because, you know, just as God can loan it, God can take it away. And so it's not really, you know, we need to take that about the great I, you know, that look how wonderful I have this wealth, or I'm doomed. I'm no good. I'm in the lower class on the tax brackets or whatever. And just to remind us that what is despair? Why is this? You know, as a spiritist, this is disloyalty to God, and so to remain faithful that, you know, God always provides for us, and when we face harsh trials, we're always given some kind of consolation to get through it. So it's that idea of looking for God in these trials. You know, where is God for me? Yeah. So I think it's a good, and I really like bringing that message to even the middle class, you know, to say, well, I don't have all this extra money and I'm not out begging on the streets, but we could be. And it's important for us to put ourselves in each other's shoes, because it helps us to break down that separation, that, you know, I'm separate from you, I'm different from you. No, because he says right in the beginning of the item, the only way we can regenerate is through unity, that we are indebted to each other. And to think that, well, you know, it's not my not my problem. You don't have a house to live in, you know, so that we are responsible to help each other as we can. So
no, this is true. People always think, oh, this is the problem of the rich. I'm not rich, so I don't have a problem. But it doesn't need to be rich to be attached. You know, you can be attached to the one only thing that you think it's very important, and you are so attached to that when you die, you are attached to your bed, to the couch, to whatever. And it's a problem. I think I already told this story many times. I went to a store where a friend used to work, and it was a used clothes, used anything that's used. In New York, they have many of this, and sometimes very fancy things. So when I went to the area of furniture, I remember hearing a person saying, "Get out of my couch!" And I'm like, "My God, this person is screaming in the middle of the store." And I start looking, searching for who was screaming. And when I finally detect, it was a spirit screaming at a man that was sitting reading newspaper, probably waiting for his wife, because poor man. They don't like shopping. They just sit there and then he was reading a newspaper, and the spirit of this older lady was screaming at him, and he not listening. And she was in pain. Because evidently her family donated her whole furniture, the whole living room had the whole set, the table, the light, everything. And she was attached to that. So who buys the furniture will get a free spirit together. So not easy, because she will go with her furniture, and she will cause a lot of disturbance to whoever purchased that furniture. And it will take a long time for her to be able to understand that will not be hers anymore, until she will be able to, understand that she is actually dead, is in the spiritual realm. So we don't know. Every person is in a different level, and the speed of seeing this light and being receptive to this help, it takes a long time. But exactly, that's exactly what you said. We don't need to be rich.
I think we can extend this. Now, I know he's not doing this in this particular items, but I think we need to look and see what are our wealths. So maybe I'm a good listener, but if I hold this only to those I love, I'm only going to listen to people I know that I love, it's the same thing. I'm being miserly with this wealth that is alone. And so, I think first it's good for us to look and see what are my wealths. So maybe I'm not wealthy in dollars, dollar sign, but what are my talents? Because I really believe this is what was meant when multiply the talents, was sharing them. That's how we multiply them, is to share them. So I think it's a deep message, or can be.
It is true. And Matthew is asking if I personally saw that. Yeah, Matthew, I personally saw that. I have seen a lot of stuff. Mediums see a lot of stuff all the time. Most of the time we don't say.
There's a Spiritist book that's not in English yet. It's Voltaire, I Came Back, with Brother X, or not Brother X, Brother Jacob.
Yes,
About
yes.
the Spiritist director of a Spiritist center, and he discarnates, and the story is about his discarnation and how the spirits come. And so he was a director of a Spiritist center, but it was interesting that
and very, very charitable. Very charitable. It's not that he was just, he was very charitable too.
Right. So this example is interesting because one of the things that was holding up his discarnation was glasses sitting on his nightstand. And it wasn't because he was so attached or in love with them, but it was something he used all the time. And so the vibrations, the connections were there, and it was kind of holding up his discarnation. And they talk about how they take spirit to the ocean to get like purification, and from the sea salt in the water. And so it's very interesting just to see attachments in general. So if we can think of that, and then if you're being miserly on top of it or hoarding it, then this woman that you saw, who's actually, it goes on. Just even though we discarnate, it doesn't stop.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's scary. So let's start thinking, oh, what can I I always tell my husband, listen, if I die before you can donate anything to anyone, I will be happy to see that they have good taste in clothes.
I could just see Angie, get that dress off. It's my dress.
No, I will be. You should lose a little bit weight to be able to feel good there.
Oh God!
But it is important. It's important to start exercising. Listen, if you want, yes, because we never know. Sometimes we don't even know that we are attached. That's the most dangerous thing, because when you exercise something, like you have something that you really love, that you really like, oh, I really love this, would you be able to donate it without being like, So that's when you start thinking, and I'm totally detached, maybe not, but then we should really start like thinking, oh, if something happens, would it be okay? That's when you say, yeah, I think yes, I really love that little decoration there. But if I need to give it to someone, I will be happy that that person got that. Instead of be like, oh, I will be so upset. That's like, red flag. So
that's why I think Spiritism, we try to exercise a lot of charity work, so we can, like, if you have a lot of your closet is full of things that you don't use, let's get everything out of the closet and let's give them away. It's an exercise. Sometimes you don't notice it, but you have a lot of stuff that you don't use, and why not share with people, that
exactly. And every time I buy something, I like to take 2-3 things and give. So it's like, if I'm buying a new dress, I probably have others that I can, so I don't keep accumulating. Exactly like you said, you have so much, it's like so full, and a lot of people say, oh, I have nothing to use, and the closet is super full. So we have to think about this thing. So just to finalize Lacordaire message, so he says here in the last paragraph, he says, if you are poor, because until now we were talking just about rich people or people that have some possessions. So he said, know how to be content with very little. If you are poor, do not envy the rich, because wealth is not necessarily for happiness. If you are rich, do not forget that your possessions have been entrusted to you and that you must justify their use as if you were giving an accounting of expenditures. Do not be unfaithful trustee by utilizing your possessions to satisfy your pride and sensuality. Do not think that you have the right to dispose of your sole use what is nothing but a loan, not a gift. This is the point. A loan, not a gift.
Yeah.
And then he continues, if you are unable to repay it, you do not have the right to ask for it in first place. And remember that those who give to the poor are settling a debt they have contracted with God. Beautiful, really beautiful final message of Lacordaire. Very, very powerful. And to finalize quickly, what can we talk about the transmission of wealth? What do you think?
Well, so the question is about, is it okay for people, to pass on an inheritance to the family? And the Spirit's answer that, yes, it's okay, but, God's law overrules human law. So even though they might legally leave the money to their son or daughter, if they don't have the merit in God's eyes, that money will be taken from them, or something will happen that the money will go where God's design is higher than human design. So that's why
Exactly.
we have to be careful that even though we have good intentions of like, well, I'm doing this for my family, and but there can still be attachment in that, trying to control where the money goes. And
Yes.
also we have to remember that push towards the universal family,
Yes.
and not,
Yes. And this attachment also is so stressful. For example, there is a famous singer in Brazil who died a few weeks ago, and he had adopted a little girl, but he had not done official documentation to transmit wealth. And then when he got COVID, he actually called a lawyer and made a documentation, and he put 50% for her, and then the other 50% he was going to distribute among his family, lots of brothers, sisters, I don't know. Anyway, so when he died, the whole family is fighting to remove the girl from the testament. She is 14 years old.
Wow.
And she even received messages, if you don't get out of here, you will die. So the girl right now is disappeared. So I'm like, my God, isn't that absolutely terrible? That the family thinks so much of the money, that the girl he adopted and he loved as a daughter, they did not embrace her. They just like so it's very sad.
And it helps. It happens a lot.
A lot. And it's sad when we see people that are so rich, and it's so stressful for them, because they always think about how will be my family, and it's always like so it's like sometimes it's so good that I'm not that rich. It's not gonna nobody's gonna be killing each other.
I know there's a Spiritist story, and forgive me, I don't recall the details, but it goes something like this: that a man owed a woman some money, and he did not pay it. And what happened is, when she discarnated, she reincarnates as his daughter, And so she ends up getting the money that is due to her. So we have to trust, God's design. Sometimes what doesn't look right in our eyes or we don't
Yeah.
understand, there's usually, and I think when we see this, when somebody discarnates, you see this often, very often. People fight over the materials and the house and the pillows and,
Yeah.
and it's just shows again how we're still closer to the animals, right? But
Yeah.
we're getting there.
Yeah, so sad. It's like so sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Givaldo Franco, he explained sometimes we play the lottery forever. We never get $1. But then that there is that person that millions of people play and she bought one ticket of $1 and she won the whole thing. So he said there are no coincidences.
No.
So in a past life, maybe someone stole her money and she reincarnated and didn't have a possibility of getting the money from that person. But then the spirituality made a way that she will be able to get what she was on previously. And the same thing that they used to disturb me like crazy. I used to be really, really disturbed when someone went to jail for a crime that he or she did not commit. I used to be, oh my God, how they did not fully research, how they didn't see this, see that, blah, 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 blah. And then one day, Givaldo Franco also, in one of his lectures, he was explaining a crime that happened long time ago, but it's typical thing that happens all the time. Someone was accused of killing someone in that time, didn't have DNA, didn't have this or that. He was put in jail, was poor, didn't have a lawyer. He stayed there for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. And then one day, from nowhere, someone decides to open the case again. And then there is already DNA. They go through and boom, was not him. They take him out. And then the government gives him money because of whatever they did. And then Givaldo Franco saying, there are no coincidences that we already know. That the man in a previous life was guilty and did not pay for his crime by the law of man. He did not. Nothing happened. So in this incarnation, he would have to go through this turmoil, this horrible thing. Not because in this life he did not commit, but in a previous one he did. So then I started like, wow, okay, so there are no mistakes for God. For us, it's terrible. It's so painful. But there are no mistakes under the God's eye. So we have always to pray for this person because it's very hard. I can just imagine how tough it is for a person to be going through this hard time if in this life they did not commit it and if they don't have this type of understanding. Because for a spiritist person, the person will think about maybe something that I did in a previous life because they didn't do. But the person that don't have this type of understanding must be really, really much, much more difficult, much more painful for sure.
But the opposite is true too. When we see people seemingly getting away, not getting caught, or we need to remember time.
Yeah.
They're going to make the answer, and they will.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. The same thing.
Everything counts. I think 3 things that are important out of here, this message about money and in terms of a trial, is one, to know how to do with it know how to live when one does not have money, to know how to put money to good use when one does have money, and to know how to sacrifice it when necessary. So those are 3 different levels of trials, and I think we all face them maybe at different times in our lives, but something to think about.
Yes.
about the detachment of money.
You made a great summary.
Good. Very good.
That was very good. Very, very good. Very good, girls. Thank you so much. This was a wonderful conversation. So now we have to go into our little meditation, and then we jump into the irradiation. We have few minutes to finalize it, and then we come back to say our final goodbyes. So,
Okay.
Claudinha, can you do our prayer?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. So let's close our eyes and let's relax. And just remember good things that, so many good things that we talked about tonight. And let's continue with this good vibration and relaxing in the chair or on your bed. Just take a few deep breaths and let's calm down. Let's take the first deep breath. Inhale and exhale really slowly. And let's take another deep breath. Exhaling. And with this feeling of being calmer and relaxed, let's talk to our dear friend Jesus that is always so close to us. And sometimes we don't pay attention to it, but I'm sure that He's always around us. And let's take a moment to thank Him and thank the good spirits that are here with us tonight, that gave us this opportunity of studying, of being together. And if we think there's so many blessings in our lives, our health, our friends, our families, our talents, so many things that we receive from God that that help us to continue growing and continue looking for a better next day or a better life. So thank you so much, Jesus, for being here with us. We ask you to continue helping us in every moment of our lives and assist us with our friends, with our families. Uh, Continue pushing us not to give up on things. It's so good to be here. It's so good to study, and it's so good to share experiences. So continue helping us to come every Thursday and meet our friends and study and do this beautiful meeting that we have every Thursday. So thank you so much for being with us, and so be it.
Welcome to the Virtual Passes Room. Emmanuel, the spirit mentor of Chico Xavier, once stated that thought is life. Thus, we can create the healing mental state right here and now. In preparation for the virtual passes, we would kindly recommend the following. Breathe deeply, slowly, calmly, and confidently. Concentrate on positive thoughts, thereby avoiding negative ones. Silently evoke God's protection as well as Jesus. Also pray to your guardian angel, and always be ready to pray. Let us begin this passes session by praying as our guide and model Jesus Christ has taught us with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who is in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Now, let us feel that small points of suffering, bitterness, sadness, anger, deception, disappear from your mind to not return. Like aged leaves that are shed from trees, let go of those feelings that no longer serve you. And gently, but most assuredly, discard them. Let the wind of life carry them so far away that they are unable to return and recreate their negative link. Little by little, your emotional tree sheds its negative feelings, becoming clean and ready for its renovation. Without the weight of those dead leaves, you feel lighter and are able to feel the gentle water of life now abundantly falling onto your physical body, spiritual body, and soul. This water cleans, disinfects, purifies, deconstructs, and tones all the cells of your body. Nothing can escape its renewing action. At the same time it is cleaning and moisturizing your body, this crystalline liquid satiates your spirit, eliminating affliction, anxiety, and unrest. Now within your heart resides a sense of calmness, cleanness, and well-being. Then the light of God emerges to warm and snuggle you, while caring rays penetrate your whole body and tenderly embrace you like a maternal hug, which brings comfort and safety to your heart. At this moment, great love warms your heart and removes the coldness resulting from any affliction. Now, your mind contains only feelings of joy and confidence. You are at peace and enveloped by a protective warmth. The heart of life offers you perfumed flowers. Then, with a grateful and happy soul, you gather their colorful petals that penetrate your whole being, restoring feelings and emotions of happiness, hope, faith, courage, and determination, helping you to regain the willingness to live. In addition to the perfume and color, nature also shares with you the best it has to offer, an infinite capacity for restoring its sublime beauty, even when struck by evil that appears to enact its end. Divine hands full of light gently overflow and spill over you like a golden waterfall of unspeakable and unknown essence. Little by little, your soul is impregnated with sweet happiness, allowing an inner renewal of the most noble and elevated purposes, that of progress and accomplishment. Showered by this sublime power, you deeply surrender to the donor of light, absorbing energy that now gives your life a new and blessed impulse. You called me, and here I am. What do you want from me today? What do you need? Ask, my son. Ask, my daughter. I am here to help. Now, ask your special request to Jesus, enumerating the problems and difficulties that afflict you. I listen to your request with love and attention. Now I count on your faith and trust in me to solve your problems. Go in peace. I am watching over you, and I will not lose sight of you. Believe in God and also believe in me. I will be with you every day until the end. Be happy. Many blessings.
My friends, now with this beautiful message that we just heard, let's get connected, uniting our energies, uniting our love, our good vibrations, thinking that we are only one family, one love, one powerful energy. And with these thoughts in mind, let's collect our love, this pure feeling that we have, that we wish to help others, this desire to be able to send some positive vibrations to our family, our friends, maybe to someone that we don't even know in person, but we admire, or maybe to a cause. Let's think about what we would like to do. But before this, let's do it together. So at this moment, let's visualize on top of our heads this beautiful golden light that's like a cloud of gold electricity above our heads. Strong, powerful. That's the energy of love that we have, and we want to donate some of it to a good cause. So at this moment, we start building up our chain of love. And this chain of love starts traveling. It leaves my house and immediately goes traveling this speed of thought to the house of our friend Claudia. It arrives there, visits every single place in her house, distributing love, good vibrations, good healthy energy. And then it connects with her energy, with her loving desires to help others, and continues this chain of love traveling to our friend Teresa's home. It arrives in Teresa's home, penetrates all the chambers, surrounds her physical body, connects with her loving energy. And we feel this chain is getting stronger, is getting even more positive. And it continues the travel. It now is traveling to the house of our friends who were listening to us and who are now focusing their loving energy also to transmit to others. And it goes from the house of one person, connects with their energy, goes to another person, and keep this chain of love going on, adding more and more. And it's getting stronger and stronger because we know that when we are together, we are stronger. And when we are together, praying, emanating good vibrations, this loving energy can do a lot. And at this moment, let's think, let's visualize for a few seconds all the people that we would like this loving energy that could visit them and could help them. The ones that need help, the ones who are sick, the ones who are going through difficult times, the ones who maybe they are living on the streets or they are living in a hospital, they have no family, or our own families who live in different countries or different states or cities, or maybe in the same city, but because of the situation of COVID, we haven't seen them in a long time. And now let's be in silence for a few seconds and let's visualize all these people that in few minutes we will want these good vibrations to penetrate in their chambers. And now that we have visualized all these people that we want our good vibrations to penetrate, let's ask the enlightened spirits to be able to work with our good vibrations to the benefit of them. Let's ask the doctors and nurses of EMEA Inner Light and also Kardec Radio so they can manipulate our simple loving energy with their enlightened fluids, and that the best for all those people to happen. When we say the best for them, it's because we don't know what is the best for them, but we want it. We want them to be healthy. We want them to feel good. We want them to improve. In our materialistic way, we think that being healthy, recovering is the best thing. But maybe we don't know. Maybe God has different desires. But we trust in God and we want the best for them to happen. And we ask also for ourselves to give us the strength to overcome any type of a difficulty, any type of pain that we might go if these friends or this family, they have to leave us. And at this time, united under your name, Jesus, we say thank you. Thank you for so many blessings we receive on a daily basis. Thank you so much for taking care of us during all this difficult time of the pandemic. Thank you so much for your loving energy, always giving us hope of better days, strength to overcome any type of difficulty we have. And with these thoughts in mind, our chain of love starts coming back. This chain of love already visited all our friends that are listening to us, collected all this loving energy, and at this moment return to myself where it started, and we close it, and we see and feel this radiant gold light sparkling throughout our room, making us to feel light, happy, feeling good, because we were able to help so many people. Even if our loving energy is little, with the enlightened spirits, they can do very good things. And we only need to wish, we only need to desire to do good. That's what the enlightened spirits always say. Desire, and it will happen. So thank you so much. Thank you for all the blessings received. Thank you so much for being able to be here together, surrounded by the good spirits, distributing this love, hoping for the best of everybody, including for ourselves. And again, we ask you, please help us, protect us, guide us, and always inspire us to do good. And please help us again to come back, to continue our moral improvement. Always, always, always. Thank you, and so be it. Thank you, my friends. Thank you for being here.
Thank
It's
you.
always a pleasure. It's always a blessing to be able to connect, to transmit a little bit of our loving energy to our friends, our family, and to everywhere that's in need. We know there are needs everywhere. So it was a blessing to have you here tonight, and I hope to see you again next week. Thank you so much, Claudinha. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Teresa.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Angie.
Teresa.
Have a blessed
Good week.
night, and let's dream tonight with our guardian angels. They will help us to continue helping others.
Good.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.